I'm Macy Egland. Only in Newsday, allegations of aggressive tactics used by PSEG to get customers to pay up.
People think much better in the dark, all right?
That's a recording obtained by Newsday, said to be of a PSEG supervisor at a recent industry conference. The recording provides a rare window into the practices of bill collecting specialists at the Long Island utility contractor. The State Department of Public Service has expressed significant concern about the alleged comments. A PSEG spokeswoman said a Newsday synopsis of the comments, quote, does not align with our values and will be thoroughly investigated. The man accused in a deadly shooting in Huntington Station was arrested in Alabama and returned to New York yesterday. Prosecutors say Carlos Castro, a Honduran national, was trying to flee the country. They say he gunned down Stephen Rocco following an argument last month behind the one-stop deli. Sticker shock at the pump as gas prices continue to soar on Long Island. We're paying $4.53 on average for a gallon of regular gas. That's according to AAA. That is 33 cents more than just a week ago. AAA now says gas has risen 50% since the war in Iran began at the end of February. Growing concerns this morning over the state of the island's waterways. A recent report found our local waters are being threatened by cesspool runoff, harmful algae, and flesh-eating bacteria.
The issue of toxic tides is not going away anytime soon. It's the year 2026. We have to treat our sewage.
In 90 seconds, the steps Suffolk is taking to treat and clean its waters. Only a Newsday, Port Washington North is launching a new compost program. The state gave the village $75,000 for the food scraps drop-off plan. Officials hope to launch it in the fall. First in Newsday, a dozen Long Island hospitals making the grade when it comes to patient safety. The nonprofit watchdog organization Leapfrog Group gave the hospitals an A based on how well they protected patients from accidents, infections, and injuries. On the list, Mather Hospital in Port Jefferson, Peconic Bay Medical Center in Riverhead, and St. Francis in Roslyn. You can find all of the hospitals on our website, newsday.com. Let's talk about your Wednesday weather now. Grab that umbrella. Rain and strong winds are moving in. It's dry and sunny right now, though. This is a look at Foster Memorial Beach and Sag Harbor. Pretty shot there. But as you take a look at your future cast, not so pretty here. The showers start to move in around midday and stick with us until later on tonight. Wind gusts could top out at over 30 miles per hour. That rain could linger into tomorrow morning. Otherwise, it's cloudy for the first half of the day in the 60s or so. As you take a look at your 7-day forecast here right now, Friday's looking good and dry, also in the low 60s. Saturday, upper 50s, but some rain. Sunday's looking good. Start of next work week in the 60s, and we could have a wet start on Monday.
Long Island weather is brought to you by Fire Island Ferries.
Environmentalists are sounding the alarm about the state of the island's waterways. As Virginia Huey reports, some are concerned that flesh-eating bacteria and cesspool runoff are turning them into toxic tides.
And there is no time to waste.
An urgent call to action to deal with algal blooms and oxygen-deprived dead zones affecting many of Long Island's bays and estuaries. Dr. Chris Gobler from Stony Brook University says his latest water quality study shows dozens of locations that are not meeting state and federal standards.
Both in marine and freshwater bodies, these harmful algal blooms are making toxins that can sicken or even be lethal for animals and even humans.
Dr. Gobler says flesh-eating bacteria contracted from water bodies on Long Island killed 3 people in 2023. He says the blue dots on the map show low oxygen or dead zones that are harming marine life, including shellfish.
Suffolk County is largely unsewered, and therefore all of these individual septic systems are contributing thousands of pounds of nitrogen that are fueling these algal blooms and fueling these low oxygen conditions.
Long Islanders, including Mary Rocco of Mattituck, are not surprised.
It's disgusting, really. That's why I have a pool. I don't swim in the bay, very rare, because when I do, I itch a lot.
And I'm originally from Arkansas. I grew up down south where we drank water right out of the faucet, and it was good. But we shouldn't be going through what we're going through.
Researchers say there are novel solutions being used to address the water quality problems. One of the methods is called shellfish and seaweed aquaculture.
Shellfish and seaweed, just by feeding, are extracting that nitrogen out of the water and they're sequestering it in their tissues. And when they're harvested by farmers, we're actually taking that nitrogen out of the water.
Suffolk County is also replacing outdated septic systems.
The faster we get new technology in the ground, the better off we're going to be.
For Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
Joining me now to talk about the effect this is having on our environment is our health reporter, Newsday environmental reporter Tracy Tullis, Sixto Portilla, owner of Maristella Oyster Farm, which operates in the Great South Bay, and Adrian Esposito, Executive Director of Citizens Campaign for the Environment. Thanks all for being here. We appreciate your time. Tracy, we want to start with you out in the newsroom. What are the biggest problems our waterways are facing?
Well, I think a lot of scientists would say that the biggest problem affecting waterways globally is global heating. But that heating contributes to the topic that we're really more specifically talking about today, which is the excess growth of algae, because warmer water makes better conditions for the algae to grow. And when too much algae grows, when it dies and it depletes the oxygen in the water, and in severe cases that can cause fish kills. In less severe cases it can just creates an environment that's not the most healthy for marine life.
Adrian, we've heard of fish kills, we've heard of these algal blooms before. Now we're seeing this flesh-eating bacteria in the water. A lot of people concerned about this when they heard this. Tell us the seriousness. Is this something we really need to be concerned about?
Well, the issue of toxic tides is not going away anytime soon. It's the year 2026. We have to treat our sewage. You know, the flesh-eating bacteria is known to be usually in the Gulf Coast or in Florida. We didn't think it would make it up to Long Island this quickly, but yet it has. That is fueled by climate change because our waters are warmer, but it's also fueled by the amount of nitrogen we are pouring into our bays and harbors and our lakes from untreated sewage and wastewater.
We've also got Sixto Portilla here, owner of Maristella Oyster Farm, so you're working with the water. Do you agree with Dr. Gobler's State of our Waters report?
I don't dispute Dr. Gobler's findings. That is his laboratory work that he does with samples from these tributaries and some of the areas where he's focusing. So I don't disagree on that front. However, I do take issue with the way it is being presented to the general public who are not necessarily out there in the field or who don't have a background in science to really to discern what he's saying.
We did reach out to Dr. Gobler, who sent us a statement, which reads in part, we just want to get to this too, quote, "There have been 0 human biotoxin exposures on Long Island ever." He went on to say, quote, "While the current state of some of our bays is clearly dire, the state of our shellfish industry and our future water prospects are clean and clear." So Sixto, back to you. Are you seeing any effects to the oyster and shellfish population?
No, we primarily don't take from the natural set, so which was a big industry back in the 1800s and early 1900s. We bring our oysters in as little seed and we grow them out. So as far as the natural set is concerned, they have been devastated over the centuries, decades and centuries. But in our operations all across Long Island, no, we don't see any major issues with harmful algae or with any bacterial infection.
Adrian, what, if anything, can be done about this? You mentioned some possible solutions.
Well, we actually have a great program that just has been implemented, the 1/8 of a penny that people voted yes on in Suffolk County sales tax, which was implemented in March of 2025, generated already $52 million. And what that money is going to be used for over the next 30 years is 50% will go to upgrade existing sewage treatment plants for additional treatment and expand them where feasible, but 50% 50% of it also will be used to change out the old polluting septics and antiquated cesspools for these new system called IAs, Innovative Alternatives, where they actually will treat our sewage before it goes into the ground. The key is to live in modern society and treat our sewage so that our drinking water and our surface waters and our beaches and our bays stay healthy and stay clean.
I just want it to be known that that the nitrogen that does make its way into these natural waters is not wastewater, raw wastewater. It's all inorganic in the form of.
I'm sorry, that is absolutely not true.
There are no studies, but actually, if you let me finish, there are no studies that that demonstrate that there are organic nitrogen getting into our bays, except through rainwater runoff, which is separate.
I'm sorry, this is wrong. This is misinformation. There is the Suffolk County Wastewater Management Plan, which the study lasted about 10 years, and they found, and that's not a Gobler study, it's a different study, and they found that it was the draining of the aquifer over 30 years of having septics and cesspools is now leaching into all of Long Island Sound, Peconic Estuary, South Shore Estuary, and it is in fact from untreated wastewater.
True, but is it organic or is it the inorganic?
It's having the same effect. It's causing bacteria and harmful algal blooms to flourish and to grow at an accelerated rate and to do the damage that they're doing.
Nitrogen is not a pollutant. It is a nutrient.
It is when you have it excessively. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's a natural ingredient, but I think everybody knows that nitrogen makes plants grow. So when you have excessive nitrogen, then you have blue-green algae in the lakes, which is deadly to wildlife, and you have red algae blooms, red tide in Northport Harbor, for instance. It has been a problem. It is something that's natural. But in excess, it's a problem.
There are no studies that demonstrate that there's organic nitrogen entering the bays. If so, the New York State DEC would come out and close a beach. They would close for harvest. There's no organic nitrogen from cesspools or wastewater getting into the bays. It goes through the ground. The ground microbes treat it. They break it down. If you feed something like the bacteria we're talking about, if you feed it, it will break it down. It will get energy from it. So the water that actually makes its way through the septic system cesspools into the bays is inorganic.
Are you saying it's clean?
It's yeah. What do you mean clean?
Well, what do you mean? You're splitting hairs here. What we're saying is that the untreated wastewater is causing an environmental and public health threat.
It is treated, though. It is treated.
The wastewater is causing a public health and environmental health threat. No one has argued that science. That's why we have to treat our sewage.
I'm arguing you right now, so
okay.
You can't say that no one.
Well, I would say that you are in the very, very, very tiny minority.
Yes. I think that's called mob rule. Then I think the mob or the majority is either uninformed.
When the preponderance of science leads to a certain conclusion, then you have to go with that. It's like the two scientists that were out there saying climate change is wrong.
Can you name a study that found organic nitrogen getting into the bay?
I think what you need to do is go back and look at the Suffolk County study.
I read it.
Okay, great.
It's full of holes.
Also, last summer, Governor Hochul, we talked about this, signed a bill offering financial assistance for homeowners to upgrade their septic systems. So $20 million of that was allocated just for Suffolk County as well. My thanks again to Tracy Tullis out there in the newsroom, Sixto Portilla and Adrian Esposito for their expertise on this topic, an important one for sure. You can read more about the toxic tides reports on our website, newsday.com. Only in Newsday, future-proofing a career. Only in Newsday, future-proofing a career in an era of AI. Sherry Einhorn shows us how some high schoolers are learning the ropes of auto repair.
We run it as a business.
Need a tune-up, brake job, oil change, or something more? Students in the Automotive Technology program here at Farmingdale High School can handle it all.
One thing that I really enjoy about this program and just Mr. O's class is that it's very hands-on, as you can see, very interactive, and you get to learn a lot of different things about working on cars, from basic maintenance.
Which will come in handy in the future, he says, when he's hoping to design and manufacture luxury EVs, hybrids, and sports cars.
Going up! We've got to get this Honda Pilot up in the air.
This is more than a class. Students are doing real-life repairs on vehicles driven by their teachers and administrators.
This teacher says she's got an oil leak.
It's not dripping anymore.
We're learning skills that are future-proof. They're sort of AI-proof. Every year, there's approximately 70,000 in not just automotive repair, but let's just say in the automotive industry that they're just having a hard time filling.
Now, some of us don't have a clue when it comes to car maintenance, but students here say that's kind of the point of the class.
It's a lot of stuff you should really be knowledgeable on if you're going to own a car. You're really going to need to know it someday. You may not change your own brakes, you might bring it to a shop, but you should still know how that's done.
Repairs here cost only the price of the parts. There's no charge for the labor because that's where the students are getting the experience they can use whenever, wherever, and however they want.
Back at my house, I'm currently working on a 2019 a Nissan Sentra that I got from a junkyard, and I'm just rebuilding it.
In Farmingdale, I'm Sherry Einhorn for Newsday TV.
Some valuable skills for sure. You can see more exclusive content like this on Newsday.com. Click Get More below that Newsday TV video box. You can see more on all of the stories you've seen today on Newsday.com and watch us streaming anytime on Local Now, YouTube, and the other streaming services you see there. I'm Macy Eglant. We've got more local news coming up on Newsday TV.
Can self-driving cars and other technological advancements reduce crashes and make Long Island safer?
We just need to understand how safe it really is.
Driverless cars, safer roads, now available at Newsday.com/dangerousroads.